Tuesday. This is season three. Hey,
Hey,
there he
hey.
goes.
Yes, sir.
The star of the hour. How you doing?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm
Hey,
excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
all right, I have a question for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to give off too much,
Okay.
because you just was a co-star in the movie Duplicity with Tyler Perry, directed by Tyler Perry. You should have known. Nah,
I may,
uh,
I
uh,
may have.
you may have. Oh, wow, the plot twist.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, well, welcome, Shannon. I mean, your content, I've been like following you, watching you from
Oh, thank you.
afar, and I feel like your content is so, you're like the life that I want. As a divorcee, no, I'm just joking, but you shouldn't idolize anyone. But I really, 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 really enjoy your content. I really
Thank you.
enjoy the positivity you put out in the world. I feel like I have to do the opposite in my life, but you know what I mean. But I enjoy you add life to my me. So I really
Appreciate that.
appreciate. Yeah, I really appreciate your family content, your wholesome content. I appreciate just what you put on your feed. Saying that, before going into your story, would you like to introduce yourself? Like three things that you are known for. I kind of introduced you as like an actor, comedian, and a news
Oh,
anchor.
okay.
But you tell me how you like to introduce yourself.
Well, I am a social media influencer, father, husband, and actor, plus television personality. So I kind of do a lot of different things all together. The list could go on, but those are the main things: TV personality, influencer, and actor.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so I don't know if you kind of got into the other stories that I've done. This
Mm,
platform,
mhm.
this is the basis of the platform. We believe
Okay.
everyone has their own story, and everyone has the right to tell their own story from their own perspective, right?
All right.
And we feel like, just like the Bible said, we are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our living
Mm.
testimony, and our story inadvertently can help someone else without even knowing it,
Right. Right.
because sometimes we feel so isolated. So I really just go into people's story from their perspective and what they're willing to share. So saying that, um, where's your beginnings?
Oh, all the way back to the
All the way
beginning.
back to
Look,
the beginning. Where were you
Since
born? Your family
Cincinnati,
situation?
Ohio, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my
What
days.
a
Hey,
joke. Hey,
so yeah, I was just a regular little kid in Cincinnati, Ohio, and just hanging out with the family there.
did you have
Uh,
any
always
siblings?
had one. I still have one brother, Sean.
Okay.
He's older, two/3 years older than me, depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
He's in Indianapolis, no, Indiana right now. He moved from out there to his Fort Wayne area. So yeah, it's my brother, my big bro. And then I have a bunch of other family members that are, play cousins, play brother, play sister. You know what I mean? A lot of family members that are like family but aren't blood family. But my mom and dad still live out there. I was just in Cincinnati. If anybody's in Cincinnati, I went to the Kenwood Theater and they had a big screening for Tyler Perry's Duplicity there for me. The whole family came out. We must have packed like 90 people in that theater. And it was amazing. It was just, a great opportunity to thank all of my family members for all the love and support they had given me over the years, and to see that all those crazy little things I did as a young kid has paid off.
Yes, yes. And if you guys haven't seen it, Duplicity is on Prime. I saw it this past weekend,
Yeah.
and when
What'd
he
you think?
told me that, okay, when you told me that you was in the movies, I thought
Uh-huh.
you was like a featured extra. Like people
That's
say,
what
I'm in a
everybody
movie, I'm
keeps
in a
saying.
movie. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
like projecting because that's what I've
Uh-huh.
done. But when
Right.
I saw you in the movie right up front, you was actually had a main part in the whole movie, throughout the whole movie, part of the plot, everything.
It
Um,
was a blessing. Let me tell you. That's Tyler Perry changing lives. That's all that
Yeah,
is.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so you was raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, with both your parents.
Yep, both my parents until about 11th grade, I think, and then they divorced at that
Okay,
point. So,
okay,
it was funny when I was growing up, elementary school, if someone's parents were divorced, you're like, oh my gosh, they're
yeah,
divorced. How do you
yeah,
live? What do you
yeah,
do? But now, when I became like, I don't know, by the time my parents divorced, especially in college, it's like, what? Your parents are
yeah,
together?
yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Just the
so
opposite.
definitely. Yeah, dynamics definitely change. But, luckily my parents co-parent well and, they are cordial to each other now. And so,
Now,
it's a blessing to be able to grow up with both of my parents
so
and a
now,
very loving
now
environment.
let's go back a little because I want to kind of go into like when you was in elementary school. Like, what kind of experiences you had? Did you know that you were going to, like, did you have a favorite teacher? Did you know that you was gonna go into broadcasting? What was that
Mhm.
surrounding around like your elementary school?
Look, elementary, I was just trying to survive.
Mm.
But
Yeah, yeah,
in high school, middle school, I kind of knew what direction I was going in. I was the kid that was always running around with a video camera, making home videos and doing silly stuff and shenanigans. So that was the easy part. After that, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an entertainer of some sort,
yeah,
and I kind of pump it all together, TV personality, acting, comedy,
yeah,
all that stuff. I still classify as
yeah.
entertainment. So it's all part of the bag that you get. And I don't think I have to decide which one. Like I can only be a news anchor or I can only be an actor. I like the
Mm.
ability to be able to float in between all of it.
Absolutely. Now, was it kind of okay? So when you go back to like from elementary to middle school, was like like did you have a favorite teacher? Did you have
So the weird thing is, I don't have a good memory of my childhood.
oh
I remember
wow.
the highlights. I remember the big moments, but like school and all that stuff, like man, I don't remember too much of that. I remember the second grade story I tell, and I've told in my book, where I was in second grade and we were studying the presidents, and I stood up and proudly told everyone that Thomas Jefferson is my great 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 grandfather, and the teacher said, "Sit down and stop telling lies." So that was a traumatic experience. I remember that one. Uh,
Wow.
but my
Well,
mother came to
but
school the next day and corrected the teacher and said, no, he is a descendant of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. Don't tell him he's lying. And she taught my brother and I to be strong in the belief of who we are and
oh,
don't let other people define us.
oh wow. Okay, so there was a time where this classroom, I mean the teacher was actually talking about presidents and Thomas Jefferson and whatever. And you kind of took the opportunity at that
Yeah.
time to say, "Hey, this is my family member. This is
Mhm.
who, part of my family." Wow, that's crazy. And so
It didn't go
so
so well.
what
It
happened?
didn't go so well.
It didn't go so well.
But
Yeah, yeah. So you went home, and when you expressed that frustration with your mom, was she shocked to hear your teachers do that, or it
no,
was
she was
something that was a pattern?
No, she wasn't shocked at all. She, knew because here's this little black kid saying he's related to Thomas Jefferson, and that shoot, even today we's trying to roll back history and
Yeah.
different things, but she wanted to make sure she set the record straight, and she did set the record straight the next day. So, and now I have a book out, Jefferson's Children. Here it is, Jefferson's Children: The Story of One American Family, that I co-authored with Jane
I
Feldman,
love it.
that tells that story. And we introduce people to the descendants of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings on both sides of the family. So
Oh,
now, hopefully, that teacher has
I
a copy.
exactly. You hand deliver it.
Yeah, exactly,
All
exactly.
right. So okay. So what is your like background as far as your parents' background? Are both Americans? Are they
Mhm.
biracial? Or what's their
Well,
back? Obviously, there's everyone is kind of mixed, but what is your background?
yeah, my both of my parents are African American, except my mother does not look it. She looks white from someone who's just on the outside looking in. She does look white, very fair complected. My dad is darker skin. She said she wanted to make sure she married somebody who was darker complected, so her children wouldn't be so light. She want to give her kids a little color. So
Wow.
I got
So
a little.
exactly a little color. Would you consider your mom like white passing?
She did not pass, but she could easily pass.
She could have easily passed. But do you think it's
Yeah.
a choice that she made to not pass?
In that era, I think it was, before then, sometimes people didn't have a choice. People were made to pass by their family members because they wanted them to be safe. They wanted them to have job security, education, different things that, people could not receive living in the black community. But the time my mother was of age, she didn't have to worry about that as much. So,
Well,
she just went about her
would
life.
you consider that's a little bit bravery because there's an easier life that
Mm.
exists if
Yeah.
you just pass,
And
right?
that's
I
why a
mean,
lot of people did.
yeah, yeah. and think about your mother's choices. She said, "I want this, I want this, I want this." She shaped her life, and she
Mm,
chose certain things, which
yeah,
came into fruition, right? But she could have easily chose a different life,
yeah,
which says a lot about her character and her personal
mhm,
integrity.
yeah.
Is your mom a big factor in like a big? I would assume a big influence in
Oh yeah,
being.
both of my parents have been a huge influence. They were always supportive of me. Even, making these home videos, tearing up their house and like literally tearing up their house. But they were always very supportive, always very loving, and that's one thing, I try to be with my kids, regardless of what happens. And if I get disappointed or mad at them, I try to make sure that they always know that they are loved.
Oh,
And I think that's the strongest thing you could ever give your kids.
and did you grow up in like a, a religious home or a quiet? What kind of home was it? Was it more?
I
Um,
think I'm more religious now than I was growing up, but
oh wow,
my because
wow.
I went to church. My parents didn't really go to church that much. My dad was raised Catholic in a Catholic church, but he didn't really go to church. We would go by ourselves, or they would, I'm like, how do we get there? I guess they would just drop us off, and but somehow we became very active in the church. Like I was raised Catholic, and I was an altar boy, and used to, do communion and all those things that you do. Um, yeah, I have to ask them again. My memory's shaky back then,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
uh, but we had a fun time. We were in the youth group. We were very active in all the programs and everything like that, and so it was a part of my upbringing and my foundation. But I just don't know what was the catalyst for that because I don't think my parents really went to church like that.
Oh wow,
You
they
know,
probably dropping you bad kids off. That's
right, right, right. It was like, get out of here. It's an opportunity for us to hang out with our cousins and our
yeah,
friends because we, was kicking it with everybody in the church. So we
yeah.
still friends with a lot of our church members from when I was a kid now.
Oh wow. And your
Mhm.
mom parents were like black and white, or
They were black, but they
oh,
look white.
okay. All right. So, back in the day, they say a percentage was like if you have a certain percentage, then you're
Mm.
black, which is
Yeah,
not,
or the one
which
drop
is not,
rule, as some
yeah,
would
which
say.
really not accurate. You're more white than
Mhm.
black, but that had it had reverberated throughout society, and
Mm.
you can see that.
Mm.
Um, and your dad is both parents. Are they from like American, like where from the slave trade? Like they have like their lineage tied, or are they aware of any connection to that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely on the Jefferson side, we can track that. Not
Okay.
so much on my father's side, we're not aware, but both American, African American.
Okay. All right. So now we're out of elementary school. No, people just like to rush through their stories, so I like to just take it slow and just
Right, right,
kind
right.
of fill it out. Okay, so now we're out of elementary school, right? Is there anything? Uh, did you go to middle school in the same area? Did you move? Were there any
Oh, we moved
big?
a lot, actually. We moved a lot when I was a kid from Cincinnati, Ohio. We moved to Georgia. My dad was laid off from GE. We
Oh
moved to
wow!
Georgia, spent some time there. A very scary racist environment back
Oh
then.
wow!
We well, we didn't stay there too long, and we headed back to Cincinnati after that. But it was an experience. I remember my mother saying, people were following her in the store, saying, "Ma'am, these two black kids are following you. You want us to take them out back and take care of that?" And she was like, "No,
Kids
these are
in
my
there.
babies. These are my kids." It's a very racist and combative time back then, but we survived, and we, kept it moving.
Wow. So when you were standing next to your mom, you kind of didn't look like her child.
Well, no, I mean, she looks white, I look black, so.
Oh wow. I mean, but I can tell that you have some mix. Like you can tell, like
Mhm.
I don't know how
Well,
what that means, but you can really tell
a
the
lot of
difference.
times in the black, it wasn't the people in the black community. We know we like the colors of the rainbow,
Uh,
But
okay.
other people, there's,
Yeah, in other communities, that you're just a black, you're just a black kid walking around.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but did that affect you in? Okay, like you said, in the black community, they know, right? That's actually an interesting story, right? Like
Mhm.
white. This is actually a whole dynamic, right? White people see you as a black kid, but the black community, especially American
Mhm.
community, will see you as a biracial kid, and often will say you're a
Mhm.
white kid.
Mhm.
Did you experience any of that element in elementary and middle school?
I've never been called a white kid,
Okay.
but I've been called mixed and biracial and all those things. Sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it comes with the
Yeah.
territory,
Yeah.
but I know who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You just learn how to. I mean, you just live with. You know, it's
Mhm.
interesting because when I was going to college, I just felt like, my parents are Cuban and Haitian, and sometimes I don't know if I could identify completely with the American culture, and I didn't know if I could identify because I don't speak. I understand Spanish, I understand Creole, but I don't speak it really
Mm.
well. So I always felt like isolated. The
Yeah.
white people saw me as this, the black Americans saw me as this.
You're right.
You
And
know,
that's how a lot of times it is. You're not black enough for one side, you're not white enough for the other side, so you're like kind of stuck in the
and you're
middle.
not
I know that's
Spanish
happened
enough for
too.
another side, and
Right.
you're not Haitian enough for another side. So it's like, where am I gonna fit?
At the end of the day, just be you, because that's all you can
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. I've learned to put on that like vest.
Yeah.
All right. So anything? Okay. So you said you moved a lot while you was when you was younger because your dad got laid off. Was there anything that was particularly interesting in middle school? That did you move a lot while you was in middle school? Were you able to
No,
make
we were
connections?
pretty, after that, after traveling as a kid, we were pretty, I guess, stable after that. Middle school, we were stayed in the same
Okay.
neighborhood, still in Cincinnati. Yeah. So, and that was, I guess, better for us because you had that stability, that foundation. So that made it all easier.
Okay. So after moving and coming back to Cincinnati, okay, after experience all that racism, right? And then coming back to
Hmm.
Cincinnati, Ohio, was that a transit? Were you happy to be there, or like,
I mean, as long as I was with my family, it did, and that's sort of the way I view life now. Like, as long as I'm with my family, I could be on the moon. It doesn't even
yeah,
matter.
yeah, that's good. That's good. That's like you have that strong family dynamic. Did you guys like within the family like have like certain like what do they call it? Like family game
Tradition.
nights traditions?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Uh, we used to go fishing a lot. I still
Oh,
love fishing today. So we used to go fishing a lot. My dad's a fisherman, so any chance we could get, out fishing.
so did your mom go with you, or it was just the boys
Yeah,
thing?
sometimes she would, but that's more of a guy's thing. My
Okay.
brother, my dad, and I.
All
Yeah.
right. That's good. So okay, so you're out. So you're back in middle school in Cincinnati, Ohio. You like the stability, right? I mean, I know you say your childhood. I'm gonna try to pull something out.
I know.
You're like,
All right.
I mean, okay. You're back in Cincinnati, Ohio, in middle school, and it's stable now, right? How's you and your brother? Are you guys close, or is he like the older
Mm.
brother that does his own thing, and you were the baby that did your own thing? You
Yeah,
know?
back in the day, we weren't as close as we are now because he was grown, trying to live his own life and
Yeah,
trying to be away from his little brother, tagging along all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Normal sibling dynamics. But he's a great guy.
You,
He's a great guy. We
you,
we hang out a lot more now.
you're the annoying little brother.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm like a middle child, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so
Different
it's
dynamics.
a different dynamic, but it's kind of weird because I'm the middle child. However, I hate to say this, I'm not gonna say it, but I feel like I sometimes people say I have my stuff together the most. Maybe
Huh?
not, or maybe I don't. I don't know. So sometimes I will be treated as the older child without the older child respect. I don't know how that it's like the younger ones would look up to me to do stuff, but then when it comes to stuff, like I'm not the older child. Like I'm like.
Mm.
It's always a weird dynamic between older and younger and whatever. Um,
Right, right.
not throwing shade to anyone. I don't want to come back and be like, what did you say? Not throwing shade. All right. So I know how it is with so it was two of you guys, and so middle school. Did you at that time going into high school? Did you have a sense of where you wanted to go in life, or did you want it to
Hmm.
be out your house, or did you like have dreams and aspirations at that time that you were holding on to that drove you through in high school?
Definitely by then I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be on television. I wanted to be entertaining people. I wanted to be out in the limelight. I knew I liked being in the spotlight and front and center. And I actually hosted a television show in think it was 11th grade. It was called Real Exchange. It was funny because I was just in Cincinnati this past weekend, and we went to WCPO Channel 9 to revisit my roots, where it all began, and I hosted that show. My co-host's name was Lauren Hines, I think,
Yeah.
and it was developed and created by Terry Tolentino and Peter Kaspersky, and Peter still works there 34 years later. It's
Oh wow.
WCPO. And it was like, it was nice nostalgia to go back to that point and see, the show ended up winning an Emmy. It was an amazing opportunity,
Wow.
amazing experience. And that would just, set me on that path of continuing to do it for the rest of my life. And it's crazy because I went to school for communications. The name of the high school was Hughes High School, and they had different categories of classification of education. So you could go through the communications department, you can go through the health department, you can go through the Padilla department, or Padilla, and teaching department, uh, technology or something like
Yeah.
that. So they had all these different classifications that were like college prep for you to be able to go. And then after that, I loved it so much, I went to college for it at Kent State
Penn
University.
State University. Okay, so during high school, did you feel okay? So I know when you did that, was it a newscast? You said it was a TV. Okay, when you did that, there was something inside. Not everyone likes to be in front of the camera, right?
Mhm.
So there was something inside. Did you always like you said since did you always have a sense like even in middle school or elementary school that you wanted to be out in front? Like you didn't mind
Nope.
talking. Like you would see your classmates and they would be all shy
Yeah.
about certain things. Would you be the
Not me.
one that
Yeah.
always jumped in and said something?
Pretty much. I was never shy.
You're never shy. Okay. So did you annoy some of your teachers?
I'm sure. I did get, they have those classifications you get in high school in the yearbook, and it's like teacher's pet and most likely to succeed. And yeah, I had like seven of those accolade things or whatever they call them. Yeah, it was like a whole bunch of stuff, and teacher's pet was one of
Teachers
them.
pet. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So the teachers liked you because you was very like engaging.
Yeah, that's all it was.
You're like a adult kid, while the other kids are like, "Shut up! We trying to get out of here."
Pretty much. Pretty much. I was also class president.
Oh
That was
wow!
fun.
In
Yeah,
high school?
went on a field trip and everything. Oh,
Oh
well, not a
wow!
field trip, a senior class trip. We went to Orlando, Florida, or to
What
Universal. Where? Uh,
UCF?
uh, I was trying to think if it's Universal or
Oh,
Disney.
Oh,
Yeah,
Universal
can't remember. We
Studios.
went somewhere. Yeah, I don't remember where we went, but we went down there, and it was like a big deal because we were like the first class that was able to take a senior class trip in a long time. So it was a pretty
Oh man!
amazing feat that I was able to do that and organize that. And then I was stuck organizing the class reunions. I was like, I'm stuck organizing these things. So I did two of them. I did like a 10-year, and then people were like, let's do a 15-year. I was like, no, nothing has changed that much. And then we did a 20
Oh
year, and I was like,
wow!
okay, I'm done. I think my
Yeah,
responsibilities are
good. Yeah.
good.
So
Yeah,
you
it's after
did 10,
that.
15, and 20 year.
No, no 15. They wanted to, and I
Oh
said no. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not doing that.
yeah.
But we did a 10-year and a 20-year. So after that, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to do anything else.
Wow. So for your class presidency, did you run for it or what? How did that
Yeah,
look?
I ran. I don't remember who I ran
Yeah.
against, but
Okay.
ran for class president. Ended up winning.
Okay. So
I was
that's
kind of. I
that.
was like, I was a little popular, so
Yeah. Okay.
that
That's what
helped.
I was gonna say. That says a lot. That says a lot about like the school really liked you. You know, I was only boisterous. You was that guy. So you was
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
I was in the mix. I was in the mix. I was in these streets, and
You. I don't know. You had all the ladies running up after you, huh?
I doubt that part. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
I, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. So now you're in college. Okay, we finally got to college, right? Okay. So you kind of on your you knew your vision. You knew where you was going. You knew that you wanted to be in entertainment or on TV
Mhm.
or in the light. not something that everyone knows, everyone want to do, and you took the communication route. Did you do anything exciting in college that was
Yeah,
in
actually,
line with that?
because I had done television, I'll back up to high school. It was funny because our mayor when I was in high school was Jerry Springer.
What?
He was the mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio. And so he would come to our high school and be on our television shows, our cable access television shows that we used to put on there. So that was a cool experience that, he wasn't the Jerry Springer that we know from television then. He was a serious politician. But he would come over and we would do television shows and interview him and different things like that. And you could tell he always had a thing for TV. Um, and because I had that experience of both doing the Channel 9 show and the television show at the actual high school, because we had a whole studio and cameras and everything. When I went to college at Kent State University, I wanted to audition for the morning show there. They had a morning TV show, and people were like, "Yeah, freshmen never get that. You can't, don't even audition. Don't waste your time. They don't let freshmen have a show." I auditioned, and guess who got the show?
Guess
Like,
who?
I wonder. I used to host it with someone. I think her name was Marty. I don't know where she is. I gotta like look up these old tapes and stuff and find out where some of these people are. But yeah, we had a good time. Early morning newscast, and took sort of like talk show type of thing at Kent State University.
Unpa- it was unpaid, right?
Of
Just
course. Yeah,
pure love.
we didn't even get credit. We didn't even get school credit for it. It was just
Oh my God.
extracurricular. But that's been my hustle always. I've been the overachiever, working hard. I don't care if I'm getting paid. I'm gonna do it because I loved it. And that's one of the things when people ask me, "How do you know?" When people ask me, "How did you know what you were meant to do in life?" It's because I love doing it so much. I would do it for free. And so that's how I was like, "This is what I'm supposed to be
I
doing."
love that. No, that's a perfect soundbite. No, I love that. No, you're absolutely right. Anything that especially like all this stuff comes natural for me. Like I don't force myself to do anything. When I first came on social media, it wasn't because I wanted to be. It was kind of opposite of you. I didn't want to be in the light. Like I
Mm.
didn't care. So I had 16 friends on Facebook, right? And guess how many friends have today on Facebook?
16. No, I'm just kidding.
Less than that.
No, stop.
Yes, less than that. Like
Okay.
so,
Well, it is Facebook. It is
it is
Facebook.
Facebook,
So,
but you know how many followers I got on Facebook? 130,000 followers with the same amount
wow.
of friends.
Uh,
You know what I mean? So I'm
wow.
saying all my social media blew up just from
Hmm.
sharing my perspective, which came natural. You know, some things are up, some things are down, but it's just like a store. Some things, it's high selling, some things are not.
Hmm.
But all my social media came because my daughter had TikTok, and I just went on TikTok with this joking, like within 10 videos. This was the first time I downloaded anything outside of Facebook. But I
Hmm.
thought TikTok at that time during COVID was a funny thing. Like it was like, wow, they had all these funny videos. And then I posted something with me and my older daughters, and it just blew up. And it
Hmm.
started with TikTok, then went to Instagram, then went to Facebook, and even
Wow.
YouTube. So I can say it's just it's not. I wouldn't say it's things I love, but I would say it's who I am. Like I just share my perspective from like my framework, my Christian perspective, how I feel about certain things. Certain things aren't popular, certain things are, but I just share it. So I don't really care what other people think because I don't have friends on social media, you know. And when my friends try to connect with me, I don't connect with them.
Hmm.
Because you can't accept, So I'd rather not have friends on social media. I'd rather have friends in real life.
Yeah.
Um,
Facts.
yeah. So it sets a different uh, expectation because it's awkward in this day and age because everyone expects to have the social media. And the one I literally have some friends that don't even know this side of me because I have another social media account
Oh.
that just have like
Interesting.
10 followers on Instagram, whatever. So they only know one side of me. I
Okay.
purposely do that because I don't want them to like. I want to have that experience as a just
Right.
normal experience.
Different persona. Right. Right.
Yeah. So saying
Right.
that, I understand about the whole love
Yeah.
because it comes naturally. It comes without effort. It's who you are and whatever.
Mhm.
All right, so we coming. We almost get into current day, right? Okay, so you're in college. What kind of big break or what kind of challenge? Give us a challenge that you faced that was really difficult that you had to really kind of overcome, because it was something that you have to challenge yourself to believe in a little bit more than what you think you had,
Mhm.
and you
Oh,
overcame
I
it.
got one.
Okay, yeah, share it.
So,
Share your nuggets.
a challenge was becoming a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
It takes a lot of hard work to do that and a lot of dedication. And then even putting on events and, you know, being able to plan events, to publicize events, to make sure people show up at the events. It was a great learning opportunity for me to prepare me for what I would need to do in the future with planning events and different things. And so it was a great opportunity. I'm still a very active member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity
Oh,
Incorporated,
wow.
and yeah, and
So
so it's a lifelong
how
journey.
okay, why was it challenging? What made it challenging initially?
Uh, the time, the commitment you have to give to it, the challenge of being accepted to getting in, because you have to write letters, you have to get references, you can't, and you have to raise the money in order to be a part of the organization. So there's a lot of work that goes behind becoming a member. You can't just sign a paper and be like, I'm here.
Yeah.
So
Were you like the first or second person in your family to go to
rather
college, or
first.
the third?
No, I was the first to pledge into a fraternity or sorority, but my mom went to college. She got her degree, and then even after she became a teacher, and she was like a teacher for like 25 years, went back to school and got master's or some other certificates, and she was teaching and different things. So she was showing me it's never
Yeah.
too late to start learning or to
Yeah.
learn something new.
And so, since you're like the first to join a fraternity, was there any hesitation? Like, did your parents say anything? Did any of it, like, it was just like
No,
something?
I don't know if they knew until after I finished, but
Okay, okay, okay.
because I was grown, I was in
Yeah.
college. I need to ask,
I mean, they grown, but if you have certain parents, they ain't playing regardless of how grown you are.
Right,
They'll find their way
right,
out there. Um,
exactly.
so okay, so what kind of prompted you to like join? Did you see like an event? Did you see like something like a show or something
I
that made you say, "Oh, I want to join that fraternity"?
Yeah, I love the brotherhood. I love the events that they were putting on in the community. I love the swagger that they had, and the ladies loved them. So I was like, yeah, we need to get up in there. And so
Wow,
it
this
was just an
dude was a
amazing
bona fide
opportunity.
ladies
Nah,
man in high school. He
not
tried
at
to
all.
play it off.
Not at all.
And-
Like that's why I needed the fraternity because I
oh,
wasn't.
whatever, whatever. Trying to play it off. He's
But
trying to be bashful,
no, no. But and I love the lifelong
Yeah,
brotherhood. It wasn't
yeah.
just something you join and when you graduate from college, it's over. I still talk to my Sands today, the ones who I crossed over the burning sands with. And we still hang out, we still talk and have a group chat. So I love that aspect of it, that it was something that was going to last a
Yeah.
lifetime. And we've gone on to do amazing things in the community, have amazing people that are also in it. This is the organization where Martin Luther King and so many accomplished and successful people in this country have come through that fraternity. So to be a part of that means a lot to me.
That's awesome, brother. I mean, I always wanted to join a fraternity,
Mm.
but I don't know, I never did it. It
Yeah.
just looks so amazing to be a part of
Yeah.
that kind of brotherhood. And did you guys have any like of those dances or those I don't-
Steps. When we
steps?
stroll
That's
and we
what.
step, yeah. I could do it still a little bit. I could do a
Oh,
little bit of it.
wow.
We break it out at the weddings.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So it's just so how does it work? They have the same step throughout the years. So if you're part of that fraternity,
You have
what?
some national steps that
Okay,
people know, and then
okay.
you have some steps that individuals or certain schools will make up and stroll to and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's what it's called, stroll. I was
Hmm.
trying to figure out the name. All right, that's awesome. So you said you kind of said it was kind of difficult. So it was difficult in a way of like trying to get in to the fraternity. It was challenging. It was challenging in that way, like because it was hard to like for the all the activities that you had to do to get into it, or
Yeah,
that's
let's say that.
Okay.
Let's go with that story.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There's
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I just try to make sure, because I feel like, brother.
certain
Okay.
things I can't say because you're not in the organization, my
Uh,
brother. Look.
okay. Okay. I understand. I understand. Now I understand. All right. All right. So they'll get challenging, and now I get it. Okay. I was just trying to figure out why. You know. All right. So as far as like, okay, so that was a. Did you have any difficulty like as far as schooling, as far as like
No,
teachers,
I
professors?
was always,
Did you have
I was
support, a good
pretty much,
support network?
I was pretty much a straight A student, so I actually went to school early. It's 2 weeks after I graduated high school. I was in college doing a bridging program, STARS. Students, what is STARS? Students, I don't know
Okay.
what it stood for anymore, but STARS stood for something about achieving and reaching success.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was part of that program. It was amazing. That's where I met my wife as part of that
Oh wow.
program. Yeah, we were college sweethearts. Been married almost 21 years. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, tell us a little bit how you met her. Like how
Oh,
like
Lord.
oh gosh.
Oh,
Give us a
well,
little nugget.
oh gosh. All right. Well, we both went up to Kent State
Okay.
before actually going to school. We was sort of like one of those exploration weekends where you see what the school's about, you take tours and different things. And we were both part of that program. We met each other, we danced together. We really oh, okay, let's connect, let's exchange numbers and, holler at each other later. And then we both went back to our normal lives and we never called each other. Didn't, do anything. But we both ended up getting accepted into this bridge program, STARS, where we started school over the summer. And I don't know, we didn't really hit it off as much then. I think she thought I was a player. I thought she was stuck up. So we didn't really hit it off.
Oh wow.
but but she was fine. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
later on, she said I started to pop up in all her classes and all the classes that she had, I had. And so she said I was stalking her a little bit, but I was just
Were
trying
you
to
stalking her?
get to know this woman a little bit more. So I thought we were both communications majors,
Yeah.
so it just happened to be we ended up in the same classes and we ended up, falling for each other. Took us about a year before we actually got together.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So
yeah, and so
I need some a little bit. So who made the first move? What
oh, it was
was
definitely me.
okay?
Several first moves. She
Okay.
made me work for it. She wasn't gonna
Okay. Okay.
just be
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Even our first date, it wasn't really a date. It was a hangout. We
Oh.
went. She was like, and she didn't even want me to buy her anything because then it would have felt like she had to owe me something or a
Oh,
commitment or something. So
oh,
she was like,
okay. I
yeah.
like that. I like that.
She made me work for it. Look, and it was worth it. Look, I
Okay.
was like, the good
Absolutely.
thing that's what I try to tell the young ladies out there. You make them work for it. Don't just, give your love away. So
But
she
okay. But
did.
talk about that. Like that's good because I have daughters and I tell them the same thing. As far as like when you have a guy, if a guy takes you out, he's gonna expect something. Pay your own way.
Mm,
There's a whole argument on social media about 50-50, all this stuff. But you brought up a nugget that I think a lot of people who's dating can like benefit from.
mm,
I think I I think starting off a friendship and understanding who the person
yeah.
is instead of
Yeah.
automatically going into dating is
Totally. That's
critical.
one of the things that helped us. We would start out as friends first. We were cool. We were friends. It wasn't like we jumped into a relationship. And I couldn't imagine dating today. I know my wife is with me because of me, not because of what I have, my accomplishments, and all those things. So it was a blessing that we were able to have that. And she's been my ride or die. Like anything that goes down, she's been the foundation of the family and a huge supporter of everything that I do, even when it's crazy. So
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love
it's
that.
yeah, it's been a blessing, and I know that her heart's in the right place because of how long we've been together and how much we've been through together. So I just, try to encourage people to be friends first, then you're not because even after if you just are with somebody because of their looks or what they have, that stuff could all go away. Or what do you even talk about? Like after your kids grow up and you go away, like, okay, who are you? Who is this person? Because you've been consumed with other things for the whole life that you guys have been
Yeah,
together. So it's important you be with someone you like and you love spending time with. So I'm happy to say I married my best friend, and that makes a
I
huge
love
difference.
that. And
Yeah.
you've been married 21 years,
Hey,
and you're looking for
May
40,
29th.
40 more years. May 29th will be 21?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
okay, so you when did you know? I wanted to ask you this, but before I forgot. So when did you know when that she was? I guess you
The
knew she was
one.
into you. No, no, the one, but she reciprocated. I guess you know when they allow you to be in their presence for a while, you know.
Mm.
But when did you know that she felt kind of the same? Did she express that?
Yeah.
And then when did you know that she was the one?
Well, you know somebody is feeling you, and they want to spend time with you. They
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
want to be with you. You're hanging out, all those things, and that was just what it was. That was the vibe. We were always
Okay,
together. So
okay,
I
okay.
knew she was the one when I never wanted to be without her. When I wake up, and I tell people that this person is the one you love when you wake up thinking about them. You think about them all day. You go to bed thinking about them. When something amazing happens in your life,
You
that's the first person you
want to
want to
tell them?
call.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, all those things together. And it was just easy. I don't think love has to be hard. I mean, marriage is hard,
Yes.
but marriage is hard, but love shouldn't have to be hard. If you're fighting more than you're kissing and complimenting each other, then something's wrong. It's got to be a balance, and you have to be equally yoked as well, which I felt like we were. So I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
knew because of all those
All
elements.
right, that's beautiful, bro. I feel like that's inspiring to hear, you know.
Mm,
I was actually married for 15 years, you know.
mm,
So I got divorced about 4 or 5 years ago. So I would have been 20 years, you
mm,
know. And sometimes when you go through a divorce, you kind of start thinking about where the mistakes
mm.
lied, you know.
Yeah,
Like
that's real.
I often reflect, like, were there red flags? Well, this stuff, you know. But I can guarantee and say this, like I know this: if my ex married the man who is today, who's like emotionally available or anything like that, it'll be a different story. Because I
Mm.
think during my divorce, I mean, before, in my marriage, I was not emotionally available at all. You know,
Wow.
I
Oh, well,
was like,
that's very big of you
yeah,
to admit that.
yeah, yeah.
So,
No, I wasn't. I mean, there's other stuff that she did, but I'm talking about for me. If I'm taking accountability for me, I only can focus on me because I like to grow. I like to grow and understand who I am. I wasn't emotional. When I think about like as far as like the things that she needed, I was just a guy, just work, 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 get things done. I was about accomplishing and getting things done. So
yeah,
now, I mean, I'm so much more emotionally available, you know.
that's good.
And I feel like some people get the wrong. I mean, it's unfair that I would have an ex girlfriend that get more of my emotional availability, but during my marriage, you know, that's kind of weird. I
Yeah.
used to think that, like, how things can be backwards. So I would definitely encourage everyone to like practice being vulnerable to your partner. You know, that's
Yeah.
something that I can say was something that I could have grown from. All right, all right. So now you get married. How from the time you met to the time of marriage? What was that time? Was
I
that a
think
couple years?
I think she would say 5 years.
Okay,
Well, maybe she claims we were together 5 years before we got
okay.
married. I don't know if the math is right on that, but
That's 4 years. Okay, what 5 years? 4 years. So did you get a job during that time working in broadcast journalism or anything like that, or what
we
was
were
the
still
beginning?
in school.
Oh, you
We were
still?
still in college.
Hey,
We were
how
still
long
in
were you
college
in
days.
college?
Yeah, well, we got our masters as
Oh,
well. So I
okay,
did
okay,
undergrad. We did undergrad and got our masters at the same time. And then she's like, I'm either gonna move to LA or New York. And I was like, I don't want to go to LA, so let's do New York. So then she moved to New York, and I followed right behind her.
okay.
Um, yeah,
And did you get a? When did you get your first job? How did that look?
that was a leap of faith. She had her job
Okay.
first because I was still on a book. I was still on a book tour for the book I talked about earlier, and
Hey, wait,
so once I got
could
up
you
there
could
to
you
New
could
York.
you name that book again so people can hear it?
Yeah, it's Jefferson's Children, the story of one American family,
Jefferson.
about the descendants of Thomas
Okay.
Jefferson. Yeah.
Okay.
So she moved up first, and I went, and just a leap of faith, another God moment where I ended up meeting like the senior vice president of CBS News, and I was like, I would love to apply for a job and send you my resume. He was like, I hope you do. I expect you to. I was like, cool. And 2 weeks later, I had a job at CBS. It's like again a
What?
blessing. Yeah, like stuff that I know happens to me is nothing but God's favor and grace on my life, because just like being in this movie is nothing but God's favor on my life and the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. Maybe I must have had a praying grandmother or something, but so many blessings I don't deserve have happened in my life, and that was one of them. To come to New York on a leap and a prayer, hoping I'm gonna get a job and working for CBS because I met the senior vice president.
How did you meet him?
We were just at a party, just at an event. I was a part of an organization, and I went to the event and met him, networked, and was, I guess, even at that time, as a young, fresh graduate, brave enough to ask him to connect and to stay in touch. And it was an amazing experience. And even all my jobs I've been very blessed to have amazing mentors and bosses and advocates for me in those jobs. So that's an important aspect for people, to make sure that they have good people around them to advocate for them when they're not in the room, like a sponsor to say, you know what, I'm gonna sponsor that kid, not financially,
Yeah,
just with their energy and their
yeah.
positivity and their encouragement, and rooting for them and putting them in the right place at the right time when they're not in the room.
So me and the kids were sitting this weekend and listening to Proverbs like on video on YouTube.
Mhm.
Sometimes we do that in lieu of church. We just listen to like, a series or whatever. And we got stuck on one thing on how people find favor with man and God. It's through
Mm,
loyalty and kindness. So it tells me that you're probably a very loyal person and
mm,
you're a very kind person.
mhm.
And you want a lot of favor throughout your life using it.
Wow.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but
No,
yeah, sounds accurate.
yeah, the Bible said, I just we paused it. We're like, how do you win favor? Because it went by really quick. And it was like through loyalty and kindness, you know?
Hmm,
Um, that's how you win favor with God and man. Um, so a lot of disloyal people, and when you think
mm,
about it, don't have that favor, because people don't trust them or whatever. I can just tell you my few experiences with you, just whatever. You said you was gonna do this show. We here doing this show. You said we're gonna, like, you kept your word, and
mm,
word is important. I'm so used to in entertainment, because I've been entertainment. I've been model. I model for Disney and stuff like that.
mm.
I'm so used to entertainment. People are so flighty, you know. So
They
I'm
say
not.
one thing and do another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you
get it.
you kind of saw my correspondence, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was
if
like,
it
I
happens,
was like, no, no, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go.
I was like, if it happens, it happens. It does. Because I'm so used to the entertainment industry not being real,
Mm,
So I do appreciate that, and hearing your story more, I can see how that, you know,
mm.
those sponsors, and not only sponsors, I would say endorsers. Like, now you have an endorser in me. Like, if I was like, "Ah, guy's a great guy," whatever, you can't
Oh,
lose
thank
with
you.
him.
Thank
You
you.
know.
Mhm.
So that's awesome. Okay, so you got a job, and what was that job? All right, we have 10 minutes,
Uh,
so I want to get
okay,
the job, and I want to
thank
get
you.
to a current
Yeah, I see the
situation.
kids walking. I see the kids lingering around. So that job, I was like a production assistant. They call
Yep.
PA on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
morning show. So for the morning show for the local WCBS station here in New York City, and that's the other thing. I was like in New York City getting a
I
job,
know.
so that was a huge
That's
opportunity.
crazy.
I had an
That's
amazing
crazy.
boss then, Byron Harmon. I worked under him and learned so much from him, and it was a great experience. And then I slowly started working my way up the corporate ladder there and got on television and became one of their people that would do like Dance Fridays with Dave Price, who was the meteorologist there. I got to produce some of the anchors there. I got to put together a
Shannon,
reel, and then I
like,
just,
I'm in the light. I'm in the
yeah,
light.
right.
Let me do my thing.
And once I didn't stop. I was like, let's
Exactly.
go,
I'm ready
let's
to
go.
go. I'm ready to go. Oh, you're made for it. All right. Oh, wow. So how did you make it to like a news? Do you have, what's your current role? Are you a news anchor, or what do you do? I don't.
So I was just news anchor host with News 12 here in New York, but I just left them because I'm pursuing becoming an actor, or being, I should say, I'm
Yeah.
already an actor and influencer full time. So now I
Oh,
get to
wow.
focus on that, opposed to, because it's hard when you're doing the daily grind of doing the news and, trying to get opportunities that you can't, just take off. Like, I'm going to take off tomorrow because I'm going to film a commercial. And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And so in order to do this, I needed to be free in order
Wait a
to
minute, I
have
made
the
that mistake.
availability. Yeah, and you don't have to worry about getting approval from anybody. You can just like, I'm available. Let's go.
All right, so now we're finally up to duplicity. We're finally there.
Yay!
How did we get here? How did we get here? Like,
So I was just finishing anchoring the news. I got a phone call that said Tyler Perry would like to speak with you, and I'm like, what? Okay. And so
wait,
he tells me that,
wait. You got a phone call out of nowhere?
yeah, random, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not in God's eyes, but in my eyes, it was random. I was
yeah,
like, okay. And Tyler Perry tells me that I inspired a character in his movie. So he wants to know, would I want to play me in this movie, or should he hire someone to play me? I said, what? I was like, yes, I'm doing it. I didn't even have to think about it. Let's go. I was like, I'm there. I'm ready. And it was an amazing experience to be part of this film and the amazing people that I worked with. I'm talking about just watching this cast in action was mind blowing. We have Kat Graham, Megan Tandy, Nick Barada, Tyler Lepley, Ronrico Lee, and of course Tyler Perry himself as a producer, director, writer of this film. These people are just consummate professionals. Watching these women cry on cue because there was a lot of tears
yeah,
in this, and just we're just like family now. You know, we still have a text chain. We still talk to each other. And Nick Barada, we call him Long Island's own Nick Barada because he's
okay,
just known all over Long Island. Like we hang out, we work out together, we text, and it's very rare when you can have an opportunity to gel that way as a cast. You know, people come, they do their shows, and they leave. You know,
yeah, yeah,
and to be able to have such genuinely amazing, kind people, it's a dream come true to be able to work with a cast so talented and so professional and so just good people. You know, Ronrico Lee, I worked with him also on Survivor's Remorse back in the day, and he's the same guy then as he is now, just very kind,
yeah.
helpful. Because in this industry, a lot of people they could be very gatekeeping, you know, and he was always helpful. Anything I can do, you let me know. You need advice, all of that. So it's been amazing, and I've been a great ride with them. Every time we get together from one of the screenings or the previews, it's like, hey, we get to hang out. So, so much fun.
Now, was this your first movie?
This is my biggest role in a
Okay.
movie, not my first movie, but my biggest role in a movie yet, you know, because I'm in it from the first scene to the last scene. And so it was pretty impressive
Literally,
when, yeah,
literally. I was like, as soon as the movie came on, I was like, "Is that Shannon?" I didn't expect it to be so quick. I had
yeah,
to pause it because I was eating, and I look up, and I was like, "Is he at the very beginning of the movie too?"
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So that was kind of shocking to kind of like, when you told me you were in the movie, I thought, I have a lot of friends that do movies and stuff like that,
Oh,
but they have a small speaking part, or they have this, they have that. But as far as being one of the main cast, that's
mm,
just a different story. So where did they
yeah,
shoot in Atlanta?
yeah. Yeah, all around Atlanta, and it was like Tyler Perry Studios is a massive, amazing place because anything you could ever want, he has there. You need a police station, a hospital, homes, everything was there. A lake to shoot on, and it was just you get filled with so much pride just going on the lot there and seeing everything that this man has built. This is a guy who used to live in his car, has built this
That's
massive
crazy.
empire that's not only blessing him, but blessing everyone who is in his production, every crew member. He's putting food on hundreds of people's tables right now. And it's just a blessing to be a part of something that's so massive and so just pivotal in people's lives that it's exciting to
Yeah,
see. You get so much pride just working there. People are happy
yeah,
to work there. They're like
yeah,
excited because they all want to do good. They all want the projects to do
yeah.
well, and they all want to give their 120% to make sure that it's the best it can
Yeah,
be.
it's definitely. I mean, to know where you wanted to go in high school and middle school and through college, and to be at this stage and embarking on a whole new journey of, it's like a new phase of your life, right?
Yeah.
New chapter, right? You
Mhm.
kind of close a chapter on this, and there's a lot of hope and dream, and of course, that opportunity,
And
and that must be exciting, and to actually to have a network
mm,
like your wife supporting
mm,
you, and to have your children there, and to have that
yeah.
support is actually gold too. Not all the time you have that support.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because I couldn't do half of the things that I do without my wife being there to back me, support me, encourage
Yes.
me, saying, "You know, so go ahead." Because a lot of women could be like, "No, you ain't about to do that. You stay at that good full-time job with benefits." You know, she
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
encouraging to follow my heart, to follow my dreams and the passions that I
I
know
love that.
I was meant to. Yeah, I was meant to share this with the world.
So are you traveling now all over the country to like for different things or?
Yeah, a lot of travel. I mean, it's slowing down now. The movie came out last weekend. Number one on Amazon Prime Video. Hey,
Congrats.
uh, so, yeah.
Hey, you're
So it's
famous, bro. You're
oh,
famous. But
not
this,
yet. I'm working on it. I'm working
but
on
this
it.
is a funny thing about it. Like in this day and age, there's celebrity, and you're both celebrity, and you're both an influencer. You know what I
Mm,
mean? You already had a following online, right?
mm,
And now you're a celebrity. A lot of celebrities are complaining now, like, "Oh, it's different." You know, now you got to be an influencer too. You're doing it both. You're in
yeah.
the same. You know.
God is good. That's all that
So
is.
I
It's a
just wish
favor.
many blessings. Okay, we have last 3 minutes. Is there any departing words of wisdom or any nuggets that you like to drop?
You know, I
As
like
you,
to tell people
yeah,
at 45 years old, I never thought I would be changing my career and, pivoting a little bit. But it shows that it's never too late to follow your dreams. Just plan for it. Don't just jump out and, leave your job, but plan for it. Make sure you're financially stable to be able to do that. And then make a plan to do that and follow your dreams because you only have one life to live. And I never wanted to be that person that was like, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, I don't know. I'm going for it. So I'm going for it 10 toes down.
I'm telling you, bro, that's a beautiful ending, departing words. So I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
I
Thank you for this
appreciate.
time. Thank you for this
Yeah, I
platform.
appreciate the interview. Like I said, I mean, you're gonna bless others because they hear your story, and many blessings, brother.
Thank you. And remind people also, y'all can follow me on social
Yes.
media at Mr. Shannon Lanier. That's Mr. Shannon Lanier because we have a lot of fun with our family shenanigans and showing you that dads are out here providing for their family, being active role models in their kids' lives 365 days of the year. So that's why we just like to have fun. There's so much serious, sad stuff in this world. When you come to at Mr. Shannon Lanier's page, you're going to have some
I
laughs, you're going to have some
agree.
fun, and you're going to relate to the things that I'm going through as a parent. So I'll see
I,
you guys on social media.
absolutely. And I'm just last word. Like I'm telling you personally. That's why I follow you because I need some likes. All
I get it. Thank
right,
you. I appreciate the
signing off,
follow.
brother.
All right.
All
Bye,
right,
everybody.